both sides at the Charlottesville issue. This was about the. Let me finish. It was about the statues. It was about the.
Let's put the context.
But I answered that.
No, but let's go to the context. There
Sure.
was a civil demonstration, and a young lady was run over.
I do know about that. That was evil.
Okay.
Oh, it was an absolute white supremacist.
And that's what he was asked about.
No, he wasn't.
Yes.
No.
He was not out there talking about anything else.
Now let me ask you this. Let's go.
No.
Okay, so I hear what you're saying on that.
No, but I want to make sure that we agree or not.
I disagree with what you're saying.
What part
So
do you
that's actually a
disagree?
good way to have debates. We can disagree.
What part do you disagree?
So when you're suggesting that he's defending white supremacists, it's just not true.
What was he defending when he meant the reference in?
I'm trying to tell you the
Go ahead.
statues, whether to keep them or get rid of them.
Okay, I'll tell you something about
So you
statues.
disagree?
Okay, no, I'll tell you something about statues. Okay.
So
All right.
would we
No,
agree
no.
on that? Okay.
No, let's assume
So we
that
disagree?
he was. I don't, because, we disagree. But let's assume that he was talking about statues.
He was.
Okay.
But okay.
So let me give you my opinion. It's my opinion. Okay?
Sure.
Now, so the statues of the Confederacy should be studied.
And they're all Democrats.
They could
Yes.
be taken to a museum
Sure.
and
They're also
studied.
against the
okay?
women's
Right.
Now,
vote.
what does the Confederacy stand for? What do they call it?
Yeah, they stood for breaking away and forming a government based on
To
slavery.
maintain what? Yes, exactly.
Slavery, the
and they say
peculiar
the peculiar institution, right? Okay.
Yes.
So I would say, as a veteran, I would say this: we can honor the service and sacrifice of Confederate soldiers,
Sure.
but we should never honor a treasonous cause. You can honor
Okay.
the service and sacrifice of
Sure.
that Confederate soldier, but
Okay.
you should not honor that. So yes, the
was the
statues can be
reason?
studied.
Now,
The statues can be
in
studied.
order to make this
No,
work,
but let
you've
me
made a
finish.
comment. Now let me respond.
No,
Okay.
I'll make
No,
that
hold
comment.
on, because
No, but
this is what ends up happening. You'll be able to respond after I'm done. I'm very concerned when people go to all lengths to shut down every statue because we have a history and a heritage, whether good or bad, that shouldn't be
It's bad.
erased.
It's actually bad.
So it should not be erased.
They were all Democrats.
No, here's the thing. No, they want to go after George Washington and Thomas Jefferson now. I'm sorry, but I emphatically disagree with this. They were slave owners, were they not? But they also put in place a blueprint to end it. So that's my point. No, we shouldn't be taking away every statue.
Hold on. Let me finish.
now
the
go
part
ahead.
There. There should be a plaque there that explains what they stood for.
Okay.
But they should really be taken to a museum and said,
Okay.
this is what we were. Now,
Okay.
it's weird. I was thinking about this today, about even the founding fathers. I said, did they know that slavery was wrong?
Yes.
Okay. And, okay.
They did.
So
It's a good question.
So,
They did.
So I thought, okay, so they instituted a framework, knowing that it was wrong, that we could victimize individuals by treating them as property, 3/5 of a vote.
No. I would like to respond to that when you're done.
Okay, so now think about this, what we supposedly, in principle, what we believe in America, right?
Absolutely.
In principle. All men are created equal, right?
That's in the Declaration, by the way.
Yes. In principle, that's why I say in principle. Okay, so now, but think about what it really meant. Okay.
Okay, great question.
When they say all men are created equal,
Yeah.
but some are more equal than others. So if I did actually, because
No, that's your statement?
No, yeah. Because
Okay.
we're not a democracy.
Because you got to let me finish.
But
Okay.
let me make the point there.
Sure.
And then
I'll
also
respond.
allow you to- yeah. So it didn't mean every man,
Okay.
because the right was women were denied the right to vote, and people and black people were seen as property.
Okay.
And it didn't mean that everyone is equal, because the more property you had, the greater vote you had, because of the 3/5.
Now here's my response. In the Declaration of Independence, after it says we hold these truths to be all men are created and they are endowed by, and mankind is endowed by their creator. Mankind speaks of the human species.
Yes.
That includes women, actually. It did not denigrate individuals because of skin color. This is a principle from John Locke. It included everybody. Now, granted, in their practice, they didn't all live up to it, but the goal was to go there.
But the framework that they put, the actual, because it was
The
principle.
Constitution?
No, yeah.
So you want to talk about the
No,
3/5
yeah,
issue,
the
right?
The two pieces, because the principle was that.
Yes.
It sounds nice.
It is.
You mentioned John Locke. John Locke said that,
And he owned slaves too.
No,
He did.
but first they said the life, liberty, and the pursuit of
No, it was property.
property.
And then it
exactly.
was changed.
But then they said, oh, well, no, it doesn't sound that good. Because remember, they're trying to write a flowery document, which is
Okay.
the Declaration.
I have to disagree with that too.
No, hold on. They write as something that sounds right in principle,
Okay.
but the framework they actually put in place,
The Constitution.
yes,
Okay.
is the one that actually denied people their rights.
No, I'd like to speak to that.
What
Okay.
I love, but let me finish. But what I love is that they put a framework where we can amend it
Sure.
towards a more perfect union.
Now, what I want to say, and that's true, a more perfect union. Now, you talk about the 3/5 issue. That has to do with representation. It wasn't that they were only 3/5 of a person. That's wrong. And this is why, 1808, there was a clause in there to end the importation of persons. They didn't call them property. They didn't call them less than. They were people to them. By the way, women did vote. and blacks did vote. You can look at the history. This is in the dissenting opinion of let me finish.
Where did they vote?
In Dred Scott v. Sanford, you can look at the dissenting opinion written by two. They were Republicans. The others were Democrats on that Supreme Court. And they wrote that black people were part of the franchise that got the Constitution ratified. They did. And women voted too. Even in New Jersey, they voted in 1808. Now the franchise was taken away. You're right. And who did it?
Democrats.
They did. It's the truth. Now,
Yeah, we know. Who
so,
the
now,
Democrats
were you aware of that? Were you aware of that?
That part that they actually were voting, because
Yes. And did you also know? I got to add this. You've got to let me add this.
You asked me a
Did you know?
question.
And
I didn't
okay,
know.
okay, fair
So
enough.
you educated me on it, because I
Look
thought-
at that opinion.
No,
Don't take my word for
Tell me
it.
the opinion again.
So Dred Scott versus
I know about
Sanford.
Dred Scott,
Now
but
it's
I didn't know that aspect of
the
Dred Scott.
dissenting opinions. I didn't know till recently myself.
Wait. But hold on. Which one took away the right, or which one gave them? Who took away their right?
That's a good question as far as how the franchise was taken away systematically. We know in the South it was taken away because they shifted into a more racial. Well, see, this is what I wanted to add. In the South, you had black slave owners too. Did you know about that?
No, not in the South. No.
Yes, they were. There was one. He was one of the most.
I didn't know.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's what you're claiming.
Yeah, that is the truth. There was one notorious slave owner. He was so brutal to his slaves. It was in South Carolina. They had to do it because there were more blacks than whites. It was a political decision in part. You can have your slaves so we can
But
keep
let
our
me ask you
institution.
this.
Yes.
Was he the exception or the rule?
So, does it matter?
No,
Slavery is slavery, right?
Yeah. So it's wrong.
It was a smaller.
So it's wrong.
It was
So
a
slavery's
smaller.
wrong. No, but you're saying
I agree.
slavery's wrong.
Absolutely.
So
All I'm saying is it's not just a
but-
racialist thing. That's the thing.
But hold on. But if we say slavery's wrong,
Yes.
Again, that's why I go back to my point. The Confederate States wanted to maintain that peculiar
I
institution.
agree with you, and that's
They
wrong.
wanted to maintain wrongness for
They
forever.
did.
And they
Absolutely.
said that.
They didn't live in. They didn't live in concert with the Declaration of
And
Independence.
your name is Arthur. You said right.
Yes.
Francisco.
Thank you.
And sorry, I gotta hang the call.
Okay.
Because
It-
I work- no, I-
90% of the slaves were caught by Africans.
That's true.
Okay.
And they were still importing them too.
So that's why I go back to the point. That we can talk about it, and we can honor the sacrifice of the Confederate soldier.
Sure. Some of them didn't fight for slavery. Some.
No, but this is the amazing thing. Think about this, right?
Sure.
Imagine that you were an average person back then.
Sure.
Because what percent was the slave holding?
Oh, it was a very small
Like
percentage.
1.5. Yet they convinced the majority to continue fighting for a system.
They did. Oh no, I'm gonna counter that. Lies my teacher told me, written by James Lowen, there was a higher desertion rate in the Confederacy. There were actually rebels against the rebels. There were places throughout the southern United States where the Confederate soldiers could not march because of guerrilla action. West Virginia seceded back. East Tennessee almost did the same thing. There were free
What's your
cities.
point from that?
My point is that a lot of the Confederates actually weren't convinced. This was a war that a lot of them didn't want. It was sold to them as a states' rights, cultural integrity thing,
Okay, so let me ask you this: was it a state?
and also a racial issue.
Was it states' rights?
Let me qualify.
That's what we're told. I don't think.
No, you're
Yeah?
right.
Yeah, okay.
See, because this is how I respond to that. They make the argument of states' rights. States' rights to what? Own people, and that's wrong.
And it's just, okay.
So it was about slavery. It was not about states' rights. I make that argument. At West Point, the major professor in history says the exact same thing. This was about ending slavery.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to tell you a true story. I was walking around in Del Air because I live in the South Bay. And there was this black guy who drove by.
Where?
I live in Torrance, but I was in Del Air area. The whole world knows. And this one guy, I had my Make California Great Again hat. And this one guy drove by me, and he was a black guy. And he said, "When was this country ever great?" And I fired back, when 600,000 white men died to end slavery. Because they did.
Yep.
There is no other country in the world. In South Africa, they were still enslaving people. In the Caribbean islands, the British government had to bring warships to end the slavery.
And I would agree with that. The tragedy, though, is that for 100 years we maintained Jim Crow laws.
So, but not
And that-
we.
and
Be
that
careful
maintain-
about
and
that.
that maintained oppression and brutality.
Oh, I disagree with you. I totally agree with you. I totally agree. The thing, but now the argument you made is that the KKK went Republican. That is not true. Now, where are you getting that from? So I want to understand where you're coming
Tell
from.
me-
Let's go back to square one.
Yeah. Okay.
Why are you making that argument?
Okay. Why do I see that? Because now, can you point to KKK individuals in the last 20, 30 years?
Yes, I can. Oh, absolutely. William Quigg.
No,
Let me
I-
finish.
I
Let me
would
finish.
appreciate if you do.
Absolutely.
Because
William.
then I'll help you expose them. I'll help you expose
Yeah,
them.
Anaheim.
No, seriously.
Let me finish. 2016, there was an Anaheim melee. The KKK showed up. William Quigg was the King Kleagle for the Anaheim KKK. He admitted on camera that he was going to vote for Hillary Clinton.
Exactly.
Yes.
But
it shows that it's a Democratic strain. Now that's one example.
Hold on.
Sure.
But was he voting because he really thought that he wanted her to? He really believed in her, or because he wanted to make it appear that the KKK supported?
That's a great question. I'll answer it. This guy was beaten, bloodied. This was totally spontaneous. It wasn't an act.
Let me tell you something about the KKK. Even though they're KKK, actually, as because of our Constitution,
I can give you one example that you're probably thinking of.
No one should be taking away the right to
Sure.
demonstrate. Because then I know this.
I agree with you.
If an individual speaks hatred, then I want to know that they're speaking hatred.
Yeah, who are these people? I want to give an example that this is what like trips people up.
No, as a veteran, I would fight for the right to express their hatred.
Sure.
Because that's a right.
And you know what? And when you allow,
but I draw the line where it says, are they moving into an operational phase?
Now, when they want to hit and hurt people, that's a problem. Now, this is what.
I think we agree on that.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Where it's tripping a lot of people up is David Duke. He's the one that everybody points to. He was a Democrat. He even ran as a Democrat for president. Now, people will point out.
Is he still a Democrat?
Hold on. In 2016, hold on. He ran as a Republican. Why?
No, I'm good.
We're good.
Thank you.
Why did he run as a Republican? Pure expediency alone. Political expediencies. Because Louisiana is a deep red state. So red that a black Democrat state senator named Albert.
I have a broken back.
Oh, that's fine. Or you want to sit down? Albert Guillory was a lifelong Dem. He switched over to the GOP as well. A lot of Democrats actually, after the 2010 wave, black Dems became Republicans. Archer Davis was a congressman in northern Alabama, a Dem. He became a Republican because Obama was too liberal. Yes. You're actually going to see more black Dems become Republican.
Blacks Blexit.
Yeah, and that happened before, Candace. So
Here's the thing. I tell people, because you asked me if I'm Latino. Yes.
okay.
I'm Mexican American, right?
¿Naciste allá?
Yeah, in Mexico.
Okay.
But I came
DF or where?
No, Michoacán.
Okay.
I came to California when
Sure.
I was about 9.
Okay.
So I'm a Mexican American.
Okay.
Mexican American.
Durango, right? I forgot. Chihuahua. Okay.
Ditto.
Asian American, born here for Trump.
All right. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. Let's go back to why do you still argue that Ku Klux Klan went GOP?
Yeah. So
Where's the history for this?
If you have individuals, just like I was telling you about the whole.
I need a factual response. Where's the proof of that? So you're getting there? Okay.
Because I see a lot of the Republicans within the Republican Party have also come out and said our party has become a racist party.
No, they haven't. Who? Name names. Who?
The colonel that was the assistant to Colin Powell.
The colonel, an assistant to Colin Powell?
Yeah, he was the colonel. Yeah. Colin Powell is a Republican, moderate Republican. I don't have anything against Republicans.
Okay.
I'm just telling you that where has the welcome mat been given, and even the individuals within the Republican
May
Party.
I speak to that when you're done? I'm sorry, I keep interrupting.
I'm just saying that.
So that's an example.
Within the Republican Party.
Okay, that's a small number.
Republicans are saying, we're all about the welcome mat.
No, that's not true. Let me talk about Colin Powell. Okay. Colin Powell, first of all, he needed a history lesson. He said there's a dark vein of intolerance in the GOP. That's a lie.
He's also the Bohemian Grove.
So here's the thing. The first. No, let me finish. So remember, way back when senators.
Now I remember.
Okay, sure. Damn it, I'm sorry. Senators were originally elected by legislatures, and the black senators were Republicans. This was in the 1870s. Granted, then there was Jim Crow that was instituted. Now, the first popularly elected black U.S. senator was also a Republican, Edward Brooke, Massachusetts, 1966.
Yeah,
and his answer, and that's not an ancillary one. He was the first black Republican elected by.
Because again,
now Colin Powell does not speak for a lot of Republicans. He's a squishy.
But I agree with you on something. Again, on the history. In the history, the one that liberated from the Emancipation
Republicans.
Proclamation, a Republican, right?
Yeah.
And that was the history all along. There was very good Republicans because the party of racism was the Democrats.
Okay. Now you're suggesting it switched.
Yes.
When?
Like about 50 years ago.
Give me an example. Prove this to me.
Okay. Going back to Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Okay.
Right?
LBJ.
And he says, you know what?
Wasn't he a Democrat?
He knew that he would be to a point where he gets the power. He came from the South, Texas.
Yes, he did, Texas.
Right? And so he got the power, but they knew they would lose the South. They would lose the Democrats.
Okay. I see. Sure.
They would lose the Democrat, the racist Democrats.
Okay.
Okay. And then, and the evidence of that was what strategy Because it seems what strategy?
You talking about Richard Nixon's?
Yes.
That was not a Southern strategy. It was a Sun Belt strategy. It's
Okay.
different because he
But it was
targeted
focused on
Arizona,
what? But it was focused on what?
the whole Southern United
but meaning
States.
focus on divide and focus on
No,
what, race?
not true. And I will
let me
prove
ask
that.
you- no, let me ask you: was it focus? Let's see,
Go ahead.
make a choice. Was it focus on mathematics, on culture, or was it focus on race?
It was focused on mathematics. Yes. Let me explain. Because you have the migration. This is still going on, by the way. Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York are going to lose House seats because they're going to Florida, Texas, etc. It was a mathematical. It was not a Southern strategy. It was a Sun Belt strategy because he was from California and he made California considerably competitive. I'd also like to tell you, Arizona, Goldwater. A lot of people, okay, the fact is this big switch, back to LBJ. What happened is, I want to make sure that I'm responding to you properly. What happened right there, okay, so, damn it. I want to make sure I'm responding to you.
I'm listening.
Okay, so, first of all, okay, here it is. Actually, Democrats were losing the South for a long time. So you can actually go to Herbert Hoover.
It's a good thing because
Actually,
then
let me start
we
with.
become less racist.
Okay, exactly. Republicans won, and that's why it was less racist. Republicans passed anti-lynching laws. Republicans re-enfranchised black voters. Now that's the 1920s, right? Okay, here's the thing.
Okay, yeah.
19.
Like all
So we got to
that
get
is-
back to
I
the.
agree with
We
all
got to
that
move
is-
up to the 60s, correct?
yes.
Richard Nixon actually had affirmative action programs that were more market-based. He supported that. He did a lot of investment in Southern properties, but it wasn't about race at all. In fact, ironically, I think the Republicans made a mistake because they tried to stay away from race entirely. Unfortunately, identity politics is still an issue. They actually had a Republican Hispanic outreach, but Gerald Ford shut it down. It was not smart because there's different cultures, you want to reach out to them. So I haven't helped. Now, it's a Sun Belt strategy. There was no KKK. What it was a law and order platform because looking at the Democratic Convention in 1968, all hell broke loose. Before that, LBJ had ratcheted up the welfare state. There were race riots everywhere. This was under a Democratic administration. Not only that, but the bigger problem is this idea that it was blue South and then it went red. That's not true. Eisenhower won 3 red states in 52. He won 6 red states in 56. He desegregated the schools. This is a modern Republican.
Yeah, again, but well, you're still
What have I not responded to?
No,
I'm listening.
You're still talking about Eisenhower.
Sure.
Eisenhower is still going back more than 50 years back.
Okay, so
Republican, I agree with you.
So now you want to talk
But
about
Let me go back
Sure.
on it because you mentioned like Nixon and the law and order.
law and order issues.
True, and the good example is marijuana. Think what happened.
He started the drug wars. He did.
No, but when for what reason? They knew that he set up a commission. He set up a commission and says,
Yeah.
go study marijuana. And they did. And they came back and says the science says that what marijuana is what? It can be used for
A lot of
alcohol.
things. In fact,
Like it can be used
Sure.
for, like people can use it to get high.
and the commission even suggested decriminalize.
Yes.
And Nixon ignored it. He did.
No,
And that was wrong.
He said why? Wait, I can't be because you mentioned that.
Law and
I can't
order.
be out there saying that I'm gonna go for pot because
Sure.
they wanted to be against 2 groups of people. They want to portray like those who were against the war, like hippies, and that they're pot smokers.
Yeah.
And they want
Wow.
to use that as a leading.
Well, they already were.
Well, no, I know. Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But they didn't want to say that it was okay to use it. So they said let's
Sure.
criminalize that.
Yeah,
So they
and-
criminalized it
okay.
and unfortunately that criminalization became racial.
Actually, it became racial in the 1930s. It was worse than that.
Yeah.
Henry Anslinger wanted to keep his job, and so he went after Mexicans. That's true. And it was a Democrat. Again, I'm sorry, but it's true.
Now what I wanted to share with
Why
you.
is he a Democrat?
No, I wanted to. Yeah, because
I feel like I still haven't answered. There wasn't a big switch. I can tell you that. But
Latino, because you asked me why I'm a
according to
Latino.
the media.
But listen, look. Naturally,
Okay.
meaning why I'm a Democrat if I'm Mexican American. Naturally, this
Okay.
is the thing. The Republican Party would be full of Mexican American people. Why? Because usually in the past, the Republican Party has been on the conservative side from the social policy point of view.
we still are.
Yeah, no.
Well, I am,
No,
but
social policy point of view, they're conservative.
we're talking about like
And
abortion, marriage, etc.
And Latinos tend to be conservative from that side.
Sure.
Okay. However, a big lie that Republicans have put, and I was telling, what's
Okay.
his name again?
Jesse.
Jesse, I'm an accountant, Arthur. I'm an accountant.
Okay.
Okay. the biggest lie the Republican Party has hoisted on the American people that they're fiscally conservative, and they're not.
You know,
And they're not.
I will not
And I'll give you
dispute that.
example after
No,
example.
you can, no, I will. I
So
agree
from
with
a
you.
fiscally
When
conservative point of view,
Yeah.
I wish the Republicans
So-
were truly fiscally conservative.
I would like to respond to
And I
that.
wish they were acting more free enterprise that they say they are, and they're
Okay.
not. I
So-
can give you example after
Oh,
example.
I could do it even
In the
more.
trillions.
I mean, right now,
That's hardly
I know.
the country.
I mean, we've had 15%
So why
budgets
not-
going
but
there.
Listen, why would I support a party that continues to harm the American people, the middle class?
So you're talking about fiscal issues now.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
My
So
answer
that's
is.
why he asked me, and I go, from that point of
Okay.
view.
But just because of that?
So here's.
Because of that.
No, here's the thing. But no, here's the problem. There's hypocrisy on both sides of the aisle, and I will
agree,
not.
I agree,
Obama
I agree.
doubled the national debt.
I'm not,
Did he?
Doubled it.
That's what I told him. He
Hold on,
said,
hold on,
He
hold on.
printed more
So,
money than
so
everyone
why do you
else.
look away from that?
No.
I'm just asking.
Let's talk about three things. There's the deficit,
And the national debt. I know.
the national debt. Okay.
Yes.
Now, did he double?
Obama doubled the national debt.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
Obama doubled it.
Okay. Let me ask you this. So let's think of it logically. The federal budget was about 3 trillion, let's say.
Yeah.
And let's say he took it to 4 trillion. Okay. Because it was like 3.5. But let's agree that it went. Let's assume that it went a whole trillion. Okay. So now, if he's overspending by 1 trillion, okay, and the national debt, because that's a deficit, but the national debt doubles from about 8 to, let's say, 16.
Yes.
How does 1 trillion become 16 and double like another
Okay.
10?
So you're asking how did all this happen?
That's why
Because
but that's why I asked
sure.
you, do you know the difference between deficit and debt?
Oh, I absolutely do. A deficit is occurring in a yearly budget.
Yes.
The national debt is the
And
total
yes,
cumulative
and
debt.
So how did he double the debt
Okay.
by about 10 trillion if he only increased the deficit
Okay,
by trillion?
that's a great question because there's a lot of budgeting that isn't accounted for. What happened with Obamacare, for example, there was the doubling of the Medicaid as a way to say we're actually saving money, but it really didn't.
No, but if you add the effect of that,
Sure.
that's not because again, it's
So you're suggesting he didn't double the national
no,
debt?
this is what I'll tell you. It doubled within his period, but that's not because of him.
Okay.
Because there's a difference between the deficit and the debt.
Okay.
And
So
now-
then, what was the cost?
And even if they were to point out to Trump, and I'll tell you the cost. And even if they were to point out to Trump, even the other way too, I would defend him because if they would play the same game, because you said they're hypocrites on both sides.
Yeah,
they're not really
I agree with
addressing
you.
the issue. Look, if they were to say that Trump said, "Oh, look, he doubled the national debt," and I'll say, "Okay, no, he didn't double it."
Now, I'm gonna also-
but listen, he
but-
didn't
okay,
double it.
and here's the thing too.
And
It's
I'll
like
give you an example why.
But here's the thing to keep in mind that a lot of people don't realize, and this is a problem constitutionally, that we have presidential discretionary spending. We have sudden actions as well. There was also the stimulus that, and don't get me wrong, Bush signing off on TARP was bad.
Well, no, actually,
I
what-
go
how
after
much
both
was
sides.
TARP? How much was TARP?
750 billion.
Okay, but what did they give away in 2-3 weeks? How much?
So no, that one I don't know.
Okay, I'll tell you.
The amount of money
I'll
that
tell
was
you,
first
I'll tell you.
dispersed.
Again, federal budget in September 2008, because you're referring to the TARP, that was just one component. Imagine this, to put in perspective. The federal budget was 3 trillion. The national economy back then in September 2008 was 13.5 trillion. Federal budget 3 trillion. Total economy, everything that gets produced in the U.S. 13.5 trillion. How much did they give away in those 3 weeks?
So I don't know how much was
Take a guess.
dispersed.
Take a guess. Take a guess.
It's because a lot of people don't realize it takes time to spend money. You literally can only spend so much.
Take a guess.
Maybe like 2 billion or 200 billion. Excuse me, 200 billion.
Go higher than the federal
Okay,
budget.
just answer the question.
Okay.
How much?
3 trillion is the federal budget.
Okay,
The
how much was
national
spent in the
economy
3
is
weeks?
13.5. They give away almost $20 trillion.
How about that? So there you go. That's how the debt was doubled for Obama.
No, but listen, that's meaning that's the Republican Party. I'm just giving you. I want to give you examples.
It doubled.
No,
one's mind is going to change.
no.
No.
we're having a
That's
good
actually not true.
We're having a good
No,
conversation.
I told you stuff you didn't know.
Okay. Yes,
I told you stuff
I
you didn't
agree.
know.
Yes, you did.
The fact
He
is,
doesn't want people talking and conversing and having a nice debate.
he doesn't like me, so it's okay.
He just likes civility.
Listen,
That's why he just
understand
wants
this.
division.
Exactly.
How they did it? They gave away immediately $1.5 trillion cash, direct cash, $1.5 trillion, and then
Some of that I'm going to have to challenge, but the fact of the matter is, so I agree to disagree. It doubled under Obama, and you can't blame TARP for that because it was less than $1 trillion.
Let me finish.
So,
$1.5 trillion direct cash.
He's
and
running
the
away
other
like
almost
Luke.
19 trillion was indirect subsidies.
Okay.
The indirect subsidies
I like
was
that
a
he
huge scam
supposedly
on the
works for
American
the
people.
people.
And I
Okay.
can tell you how they structure it.
Like the
That's what
stimulus?
Our dollars pay for his.
But
That was
the
under
stim-
Obama,
the stim-
dude.
No, I know. But the stimulus, let's say this, was 800 billion.
Yeah, must be nice.
Hey, stimulus 800 billion.
Uh-huh.
They had the right idea of investing in something, but it became pork. Half of it became immediate
Of
pork.
course, I can tell you why. And this was under the Obama administration. They were paying bureaucrats who didn't exist. They were giving bureaucrats
So expose them. I agree with
we
you.
did. That's
Yeah.
what the Tea Party movement was for. What you're talking about is totally agreeable. There is a cultural malaise that has afflicted both parties.
Yes.
That's another reason
I
why
agree with
I'm
you.
screaming about LGBT, because now Republicans are buying into this perversion. I don't like it. We have
Why?
3 Republicans.
Why?
Okay, why to what?
Well, no, because you mentioned now you went to LGBT, but before.
Is it
we
okay
go
to
there-
switch?
No, but
Okay, wait.
But again, if you want, I'd be happy to meet with you guys and show you the examples of how the Republican Party
Of course.
has been fucking the
Bye.
American people, and the Democrats have been going along that.
Sure.
Worse.
You know, seriously.
So you can call me anytime.
Democrats, because
I didn't see it.
At this senior, and excuse the language, because hopefully it's not for family entertainment there. You know, because I said, you know,
You can say whatever you want.
What I mean by this is this: that at the top level, right? There's too much of a higher interest against the rest of middle.
I agree with you.
And so
There
that's
is
why I
a
said,
there's a swamp duopoly that both parties are
I agree.
pilfering with. I
I
agree
agree
with you. Sure.
no, but again, I want now the numbers though, because you asked about the root cause, and unless you want to switch, but the root cause.
Because I'm going to disagree, because I have to look at the economics.
Because you asked about the root cause. The way it happens, because you already have the first part of it. You said,
With TARP, right?
No, meaning the deficit is the annual expenditure. Imagine this, Arthur. Let's say you have 5 million people that are going to retire, right? Or in America, there's 85 million baby boomers that are going to retire. 85 million, over 330 million. Those, their future debt that you're going to be paying Social Security and Medicare is not accounted yet. No, but it's not.
But that's my point. That's what I was trying to tell you. That's why it's doubled.
No, but listen.
No, it hasn't been accounted. You're right. No, you're right. You're right. It's not even there yet.
When as they start retiring, even if they're gonna, if it's
All right.
from an accounting point of view, it's more than a year,
Right.
a year and a day, they're not recorded.
It's recorded later.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Yes,
So
exactly.
your argument ultimately is that it doubled under Obama because of the retirees that were rolling
and
in.
also
All right.
the same thing will be under
All
Trump.
right.
So you can blame Trump for the $1 trillion giveaway, but you cannot blame him for the doubling.
Okay.
Okay, that's what my point, and it's fair to both sides.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm just looking objectively.
Right.
The numbers.
Right.
You know.
Okay.
Now you said something about LGBT.